back on NFL Daily and back from Sardinia.
We are still back from Sardinia.
Where is that exactly?
It's in Italy. It's so the capital of Sardinia is one that I cannot pronounce, Cagliari or something.
It has its own capital?
It's closer to Tunisia than it is to Rome. Mm-hmm. So that sort of gives you a little bit of a, geography lesson there.
Does it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Aren't you just like
Yes?
kind of in whiplash here that the summer of Colleen is over?
No.
It's such a hard
That's why we
reset
planned this show specifically.
to Chris Wesseling podcast studio, from Sardinia. We've done all the predictions, just about. Actually, we're gonna ask Colleen for a traditional prediction too. I'm making everyone who is on this show predict the Super Bowl. See if anyone can get it right.
Okay.
So we'll do the rest of that. I'll come up with that. We'll do the rest of those on our preview show on Wednesday. Jordan will be part of
I was going to say, you didn't ask
well.
me yet.
Yeah, we'll do that on Wednesday.
I was like, what do you mean you asked everybody?
But we feel like we've done it all. I've made I put my
Mark?
I've said who I think is going to be good. Like the over-unders to me is basically, okay, those are the teams that I'm for, I'm against. We've pretty much said it all. But now, instead of just doing an average one, our final predictions are going to have some sort of dark, chaotic energy to them. Colleen, get us going.
So I actually did awards.
That's fine. That's what we said initially.
It's
predictions,
it's
awards
an award
are good.
a prediction for this award. And this is the Emotional Damage Award. Goes to the fan base most broken by its one true love. And this award goes to the Giants.
Oh.
She's playing the hits.
And the reason is they kind of get the edge over all of the other broken fan bases because of the brutal schedule this year. The fact that the NFC East, they have to play within the NFC East. They're playing the NFC North. They're playing the AFC West. They have a chronically bad offensive line. And you have Russell Wilson there as your quarterback coming off the bad stretch to end last season. And then you have the rookie, Jackson Dart, that is right over his shoulder, waiting.
Lurking.
They're 40, 91, and 1 since the start of 2017.
Oh.
Their only winning season, 2022, and they went 9, 7, and 1 in Daboll's first season as the head coach. They just had to watch Saquon Barkley smoke every opponent last year and then win a Super Bowl. And I just think the only good news is that they'll be better than last year because of the defense, but they are still going to be emotionally damaged as fans.
How much joy did you take in this particular section of notes that you recent research?
I would say no joy at all. None.
They also gave out a franchise crippling contract because of that one winning season. So even when they won,
And then, they watched Daniel Jones get cut.
I'm on the other side of this, though. I have them as one of my teams. I think will win more than expected.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, their over under is 5.5.
Well, I was going to say, what is that number?
Yeah, it's 5.5. But I just think they'll be tough. I just think they'll be frisky.
Okay.
And I don't really worry about Russell Wilson because They announced today Jackson Dart's officially the backup, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jackson Dart is starting like week 2.
Yeah.
I actually think the over-under is like week 3. So I think it's going to be a Jackson Dart season, and they're in a nice spot, I would argue, with a young quarterback, unless he ends up being terrible, which is always possible. But we're like, as long as he gives some promise, as long as he has some promise, they could win 6 games and be happy this year. So that's actually not the worst
Colleen
spot.
is tapping her fingers gleefully together as Gregg talks. But
I cannot wait to see how this turns out. Like, I can't wait to talk about these teams.
Okay.
Week 4.
Okay.
Like, give me 4 weeks in, and then I'm ready.
Put a pin in that. We'll revisit. All right, you're up.
Yes, and I'm actually going to segue into my second one first because I feel like I thought of what are the most chaotic scenarios that could possibly happen early in the season. Your point on Jackson Dart, thank you so much for setting me up like this.
You're welcome.
Because I do think that 2 quarterbacks at least will change teams specifically via trade ahead of this year's deadline and during the season. And when we're talking about what that room looks like right now, we're also talking about Jameis Winston is kind of just left hanging out there. We're looking at Anthony Richardson in Indianapolis. Kirk Cousins still raising his hand in Atlanta. You know, there's a lot of movement that could happen. And I think about all of the chaotic energy that we might be able to get at that position early in the season. Because
Little in-season quarterback carousel.
yeah.
Unfortunately, we probably need injuries for those. You think, like, what would a spot where someone could just lose their job and get replaced for performance reasons?
Indianapolis.
Indy.
That'd be one.
Sorry.
Save their job.
Sorry to laugh evilly after
I know,
I said
geez.
that. Yeah. But, you know.
That would be one. Jimmy G is another guy who, in theory, could be available if the Rams liked Stetson Bennett enough and Matthew Stafford.
I think you underestimate how much they love Jimmy.
Sure,
G.
but I'm just saying.
I think that's also underestimating, you know, how.
That is kind of a dark energy because, you're almost projecting an
someone
injury
else
there.
someone else to lose their job, or another team needing a backup or an injury. And I don't want to wish or predict injuries, but there is a darkness ahead of the trade deadline. Teams that are either really, really desperate or teams that are a couple pieces away. There's really not a middle ground, you know?
There are a couple guys that, you also could, like, I would hate to imagine a world where they're, like, benching Justin Fields for performance reasons. I guess you have Tyrod there. But that could certainly be one. And there are more, like, useful backup quarterback veterans, like you mentioned, than I can remember.
Yeah,
Kirk Cousins.
Marcus Mariota is in Washington. Jacoby Brissett is in Arizona.
Well, so I was thinking of Arizona, and I was wondering, like, you know, what is going to happen, first of all, with them in general, but Kyler Murray feels like potentially he could be a candidate for someone who doesn't necessarily gets hurt, but maybe things go so sideways.
That would be the darkest and most entertaining, chaotic energy.
Yeah.
Look at the pit in which I have dragged us all.
I know.
Is Kyler Murray getting traded mid-season? I'll jump off that then, and first just kind of like throw out some teams that I would describe as chaotic good. You know, it's going to be chaos.
Greg's like a real optimist so far.
But it'd be
to start the
chaotic
season.
good.
I love
I
week
should have
one,
warned you about that. He's been like earnestly speaking about, you know, he's been sharing his truths, his feelings, you know.
Greg.
Yeah, I know.
Have I? I don't remember.
Ever
any
since
of this.
that episode all about death that you guys did.
It was a real breakthrough, I think, for both of us.
It's true. You got to enjoy. Who knows how many week ones we have left.
You're right.
So the Falcons, I think, could be chaotic good. I think they could be kind of fun. The Jaguars, I like this year. The Vikings. I think the Texans have a chaotic sort of energy if we're looking at like higher level teams. But then I came up with like what would be the ultimate dark energy Super Bowl. So this is not my Super Bowl prediction, but it's like the Super Bowl that
Your
would
evil
have
twin Super Bowl.
the most chaotic, darkest energy that I actually think is somewhat realistic. And I'm going away from Kyler going wrong. How about if it goes very right and we have a Chargers-Cardinals Super Bowl?
Holy.
That would be
What?
like the dark energy, chaos Super Bowl to end all Super Bowls that I actually think like they'd have a chance of happening. We used to have random teams in the Super Bowl. Remember like the Ravens stunk that year with like Joe Flacco. No one thought they would be there. The Cardinals stunk that year when they were in there. The Panthers, like, they were kind of great, but, you know, they were the Panthers. Let's bring back some random teams in the Super Bowl. Not all this chalk. Cardinals, Chargers.
I do love that this means the Chargers finally getting past the Charger curse. That's also its own brand of dark, chaotic energy. You know, this would mean a lot of things would have to go right for those Chargers.
This is less like a hardcore prediction of just like this is
Aspirational.
I tried to think of what is the most off the board Super Bowl matchup that I could actually see happening, and then if they were playing against each other, which like voodoo would win out? Because you can say that the Chargers have had a lot of bad luck and bad voodoo over the years. Go check out the Cardinals' history. Like there's a reason they've been moving those cities. Like they've got like some bad, like we used to be really racist undertones. Like there's some issues there with the Cardinals. So if they met up in the Super Bowl, I don't know who would win, but I would be fascinated to see it.
A sudden rip would emerge on the 50-yard line, shattering the space-time continuum, I think, probably. Yeah, that's like logically what would happen, I think. Probably.
That would be
the
amazing.
only way to explain it, truly.
If 49ers fans had to watch the Cardinals in their home stadium.
Oh, my God.
And the Chargers. All right,
Okay.
give me another one.
Coming up this year, my prediction for This Is His Year award.
Ooh.
goes to the player poised for a breakout season in year 5 specifically. So congratulations to former 4th overall pick Falcons tight end Kyle Pitts.
Wow.
Oh!
This is your year. Pitts has the most loyal soldiers dedicated to this cause I've ever seen. I can't believe I'm still seeing Kyle Pitts making the leap in year 5. I don't even know what to say about it. Yeah, sure, I would love for it to happen, but it just feels like no matter how bleak it gets, Pitt's crew.
Wow,
hey,
that was good.
Pitt's crew remains so devoted, and they just have this steely resolve. They will not leave their man's side. And yeah, so this is your year, Kyle Pitts.
You know, it is one of our favorite annual traditions.
Yeah.
I think, you know.
It's kind of like he has a hive like quarterback prospects sometimes do. Like the Darnold hive never really fully gave up. And he was
good for them. They were justified.
Exactly.
Like
Greg?
we'll see long term, but yes, they had their moment. They had their moment.
Him every time.
I know.
Him.
I'm just saying, like, what year was he in? He was in year 7 or something like that. So Kyle Pitts has that sort of belief.
Yeah.
I think because people just like thought he was that good as a prospect, like that generational type of prospect. I mean, look who the Falcons took him over. Don't look if you're a Falcons fan.
Pitts crew. I like that one. Pitts crew.
Yeah, Pitts
I
crew.
liked. Yeah.
Pitts crew.
All right, you're up.
Okay, so I was again thinking of the most like dark energy, chaotic scenarios, and I decided to invert it. Right? Normally, every year, one of the most chaotic things that could happen to a team is the one and done head coach. There have been 7 one and done head coaches since 2021. I predict that we will not have any one and done coaches this season. But I'll get to my next part in a second. But I predict we will not have any one and dones. There are a lot of first year head coaches: Ben Johnson, Kellen Moore, Aaron Glenn, Liam Cohen, Brian Schottenheimer. Not first year head coaches, but first years on different teams are Mike Vrabel, Pete Carroll. That's a lot of potential candidates for such a scenario. But I don't think any one and dones this year. I do predict we'll have at least 2 interim head coaches in place by December.
Okay.
Ooh.
I know.
Because this is less chaos. It would be good. It has become crazily normalized that guys get fired after 1 year.
Nobody has patience.
It used to never happen. Like we always used to mention, Freddie Kitchens. That was the only one. Like him and did Rob Chudzinski last more than a year? It was always the Browns.
Nate Hackett.
Right. It was so rare. But starting with about Hackett, now it's like it happens every year. Like sometimes they didn't even make it out of the first season in terms of Hackett.
Yeah. Sometimes team owners are paying the remainder on a contract or understanding that coach may get hired elsewhere and that team may absorb the contract. Or in the case of Pete Carroll, which to me is a sign that they just want to win very quickly while he is at the age that he's at. But on the surface, only signing a 3-year contract versus some of these 5 or 6 year deals that coaches have gotten before, he could, this is one of those that like, I don't think he's a one and done, but like just on paper, that contract is shorter than usual for a head coach. But I just think that these guys, there's a lot of potential here. With this group, it's Aaron Glenn. I hope gets the resources and the patience with a pretty good Jets roster. Brian Schottenheimer is in a rebuild, whether or not his owner thinks that he is. I hope he gets that patience. Liam Cohen's got a lot of work to do in Jacksonville. Ben Johnson is building up a quarterback and a new offense and a system. It's just that Kellen Moore's in a rebuild.
There are none that are logical, but I guess you could always say that about a one and done because there's always optimism.
On paper, Gerard Mayo was not logical either. It just got so chaotic there, and it became so missed expectations there that So that's
by this time last year though. That was a rebuild.
That was a rebuild. A lot of these other I'm just saying, like we've seen this happen every single year. I don't think we see it this year.
I agree. If I had to choose one now that you went through it, if we're trying to get dark, it would probably just be the entire structure of New Orleans changing and unfortunately, bearing the brunt of that.
Him being Kellen Moore. Yeah.
So related to Ben Johnson, this is just a random, I guess this is more of an award. These are just coaches to me that are most likely to freak out at some point this season
Oh,
in a way that will just be vaguely terrifying. And 2 coaches actually are going to win this together. Ben Johnson is one of them.
Oh, yeah.
That just, he is gripping that lectern kind of tight up
Yeah.
there, you know, and he's trying to like be positive and maintain everything. And he just kind of loses it and has a Dennis Green type of moment, whether
my
it's
God.
on the sideline or in front of a podium.
Mhm.
Just, it's icy sometimes. And then it would be the man who I probably give this to every year, because I think this is under the radar. It's John Harbaugh.
Ooh.
I mean, John Harbaugh, there is just something simmering beneath the surface. And everyone is like, he's like the nice Harbaugh. He's like the normal Harbaugh. But like when he is upset and he's in a post-game situation, or it's after the players, or he's mad at the reporter, there is just something there that I find personally terrifying. So
beneath the surface.
yes,
something
it is
lurking.
beneath the surface. Very, very nice guy by all accounts. But these would be the 2 coaches. If we're giving dark energy predictions, I just try to think who has some dark energy among the coaches out there, and these were 2 that popped in my head.
Wasn't John Harbaugh also like pretty openly on the record as being thrilled that he's like beaten the crap out of his brother the times that they've faced off as coaches? I mean, to be so open about that is a level of energy
That's
that
fair.
you are not shy about these things behind closed doors, I am sure.
There's a lot of pressure there too. There's a lot of Super Bowl predictions for the Ravens.
Yeah.
Hmm.
A lot of expectations.
Now I'm thinking about the different coaches that could like pop off at some point this season. I mean, Vrabel, but that's just also
That's sort of like
Vrabel's
that's like Tuesdays and
personality.
Wednesdays for
Yeah.
Vrabel. I feel like we're gonna get like at one point this year a really, really good like Dan Campbell moment, whether it's in the heat of
For sure.
playing against the NFC North opponents and how stressful that can get. We've even gotten, some spicy Matt LaFleur moments at times in years past. A lot of these guys are respectfully nuts. So
he's got a little.
Yeah.
Matt LaFleur's got a little Harbaugh to him, where he does seem very buttoned up and together and well groomed in LaFleur's cases, and yet there is there's an edge to him, which I guess you kind of need if you're a head coach.
I kind of love that against Ben Johnson, the Bears. Bears Packers, that's when it happens. Keep an eye on that game.
Especially after the
That first
trash
one.
talk.
a lot of Patrick Bateman energy over there,
Do we have any other ones you just want to throw out as extras, or should we move on to our Brazil
I know you have
predictions?
another one.
I forgot I had another one. I think I'd asked for 2.
Whenever you ask like that, I know you actually want to share.
Uh-huh.
I've learned him.
Does anyone else in the class want to share?
Raise your hand if you have another dark prediction, Greg.
I had one more, which was the teams I didn't want to predict bad things for, but I thought we were leaning into the darkness here. But you got to predict bad things for some teams, and I feel the worst about the Bengals because their fans I feel like deserve better, and just feel like it's a tough situation with their defense there. The Raiders, because you want to live in a world where that all works out, but you just look at the roster. And I'm rooting for Geno, but you just look at the defensive roster.
I disagree with you. I'm super high on the Raiders.
Really?
The reason that you're super high on the Cowboys, or not super high, let me be careful with saying that, but they're high on the Cowboys. I just think they're going to score a lot of points.
Hopefully.
I think they're going to score a lot of points, and I think that they're going to, a lot of these young players on defense are going to have to grow up as they do it, but I think they've got some really, really solid opportunities on offense at least.
A lot of faith in Chip Kelly. I could have that faith 3 weeks in, but I guess I just gotta kind of see it first. The other one's the Panthers too, because if they just fell right back into being one of the worst teams in the NFL. But when we did the exercise with DJ, and I was thinking who would be have a chance to have the number 1 overall pick, I feel like the Panthers are in that mix still, and that would just feel terrible